Hi, this is Jared, and we're going to talk about improving Canvas discussions. So, first of all, one of the things that I've noticed in doing courses with UEN over the past couple of years is that the discussions can be really rich and wonderful, or they can be just kind of a throw on and people do the minimal amount and don't get a whole lot out of it. And so I kind of looked at it and I came up with these reasons for why discussions flame out. And as you can see on here, and you can see from the first one there that says reply to the prompt and then comment on at least 2 other posts every single time. This is what I see on so many online courses. This just has become the standard and there's no variety there, and I don't know, I think it leads to people not really liking discussions because they feel forced to respond instead of wanting to, have an online discussion. Sometimes the question or whatever they're being asked to do isn't that compelling or interesting. I think in many cases the discussion just has too many people. And if you're using a Canvas discussion, if we're doing the standard comment on at least 2 others after you've replied, then, if you've got 30 people in there, all of a sudden you've got at least 90 posts on there. And the way Canvas works is it scrolls to the it goes to the bottom every time. And so you've got to scroll all the way down every single time. And so it becomes more tedious than it should be. And people just don't, get much out of the discussion because of that. When we don't give participants a lack of choice, that leads to people not liking discussions. If we say, hey, here's A, B, or C, pick one of them, then we're allowing student choice. And it's amazing how just that little bit of ownership really comes out in the quality with what people will post. It can be a problem if people don't get in early to the discussion because then there's nothing to discuss. And then participants feeling disconnected definitely is a problem. Anytime we're doing things online, there's just that extra level of people feeling disconnected. And so this is one way to, definitely a problem when people feel disconnected. So I did a lot of research and did some of my own trials, and I came up with some fixes. So first of all, reduce the size of discussion groups. Within Canvas discussions, you can do groups. And so if I have a class of 30, I could have 3 discussion groups and then have 10 people in each group. That's much more manageable. And people actually have discussions when it's manageable instead of trying to reply to 30 different people. It's not really a discussion. People are just trying to get that done as a requirement instead of actually trying to get something out of the discussion. Secondly, give participants a variety of questions to choose from. So rather than the one size fits all, give them like 3 or 4 options, whether that's questions to answer or a task to do or something like that. It just really helps out with ownership with your participants. Next, require students to go out and do or experience something and then come back to the discussion board. So for instance, you might say, hey, this week I want you to, in your lesson, I want you to do something with it and then come back and report on it. So they have something that they need to do and then they're going to come back and report. On the people feeling disconnected part, using Canvas, they can add a profile pic. I would say allow them to have fun with it. They can use GIFs, they can use images, they can even put video in their comments. However, I will say, Canvas is great. You can do the video comments, but it could be a problem if there's a lot of people. If you've got 30 people and they all do a video comment and they all take at least a minute, you've got 30 minutes to watch instead of just being able to sort through the text. So I would be very careful how I use video. If it's used in short segments, I think it can be really good. But most people don't edit themselves very well. They think they're being short and they're actually being long-winded. And then, my big thought is, does it always have to be reply and then 2 comments to others. Why not 1? Why not something different? Why does it always have to be the same standard thing? And so I think you should use some variety there and try a few different things. You can do the standard reply and then 2 comments, but don't do it every time. And then I found this method called the 3C plus Q method, which we'll look at now. And another teacher came up with this, and her method was you have to do at least 2 of the following. So the 3 C's are compliment, comment, and connection. And then the Q is going to be question. So I think this is just teaching good online etiquette anyhow. For instance, like the first one, you compliment, hey, I really like how you said this. And then they can comment, hey, I agree or I disagree, because it can make a connection. I've done this, I've seen this. And then I think the one that really took off in my class that went really well was having them ask a question. And this is a way to give some good feedback without really being critical, where you can say, yeah, I see this, but have you considered this? How do you plan on handling this? You just have a lot of options there with questions. So these are some methods that I think have worked really well that I've added into my online classes. But I definitely think that, using Canvas is a great, it can be great. It can also be frustrating when it comes to discussions, and sometimes people feel they aren't getting anything out of them. I think it's on us as the instructor and designing these courses to have some variety, give them some choice, and, help guide the discussion, create groups. I think that definitely helps out. So those are my thoughts. If you have any questions, feel free to get back to me. My email's right there at jfawcett@uen.org. Anyhow, take care and have a good one.